This is our second stop on day 3 of our Transylvania Extension in Romania. The first stop was in Primjer, where we saw the fortified church, and this is a second stop where we're going to get a traditional blacksmith demonstration as well as seeing the king's residence. The blacksmith in this town of Viscri is a traditional blacksmith. His skills were handed down from his father and his father's father. He has some of the traditional equipment, including bellows and tools, to make horseshoes and hinges and nails and things like this. His skills are highly sought after because there's a lot of renovation work going on in the town as well as in the country, and they're looking to repair castles and old structures with traditional hinges and nails and metal works, and they like to be able to use historically similar processes to make those types of equipment. And horseshoes are a staple, and that's what he's going to demonstrate for us here, how to make horseshoes and nails. Now obviously we don't have the time to make a full-size horseshoe, so he's going to make a smaller version.
This is the main idea. Here is the raw material.
Oh.
20 centimeters,
Da, 25-20, depinde.
So 20-25 centimeters, more or less. He has to hit this, and he's going to make this. Okay? Has about 300 years. Some historians came to him, and actually Mr. Matthew had an offer. They offer $30,000 US for this, and he said no. He wants to keep it.
So apparently the bellows that the blacksmith is using is over 300 years old, and he's been offered $30,000 for it, but he refuses to sell it. He's using it in his work today. So the first step in the process is heat up the metal until it's red hot. This is obviously iron here, and now he's forming it into the basic shape of the horseshoe.
Deci când lucrăm cu o potcoavă mare, atunci să lucrăm altfel.
The next step of the process is to punch holes in the horseshoe, and that will allow nails to be inserted so they can be attached to the foot of the horse.
It's making actually the holes where they are putting the nails in the.
Okay.
Oof.
Acum o băgăm să facem corții.
He was very proud. And he told me that with his children and with his boy, he doesn't want to be so strict, but in the same idea to learn him what actually means money, what means work. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the horseshoe. The decorative horseshoe.
Now, after making the horseshoes, he's going to show us how he makes some traditional nails that they use on the decorative hinges on the castles and fortifications in the area. Just quenching it.
Uite așa, până când faci 6.000-7.000 de bucăți, apoi ai ce bate aici. No, vezi, ia uite, ăsta este, de exemplu, un cui înainte cum se făcea pe timpul. Ăștia poftim să folosește la, de exemplu, la balamarele ăștia, care vine așa.
So for this one, it's mandatory to have nails like that. Yes.
Atunci este manustructură. Deci făcut lucru manual.
Exactly. If you are doing the hitches with handmade, you have.
So the guide told us that if you're making these hinges, you need the traditional nails, and they need to look correctly to have the historical look for the buildings. So after the traditional blacksmith demonstration, we headed over to the King's House. It's also in the village of Viscri. When I say the King's House, I actually mean that. It's actually owned by King Charles of England. He was a frequent visitor to Romania. He fell in love with the countryside. I suspect it was due to that he could probably get some peace and quiet here with less encounters with people who wanted to bump into him. He loved walking the hills, apparently, loved the flora and fauna here, and he actually wrote a book in which he documented all the flora and fauna in the area. And you can purchase that book. I understand it's quite expensive, though, but they do have a copy of it in the small museum they have on site. Now, King Charles still owns the place. He's actually stayed here. He has a quarters here, which I'll show you at the end of the video. But the main purpose of the establishment here was to educate. And when I say educate, they wanted to keep alive some of the old traditions and skills of the artisans in the area. For example, if you look at the roofs here, they have a traditional slate-type tile. They wanted to teach people on how to carry on the tradition of how to make those slate-type tiles, so they do that here. They also show a lot of the traditional fortified castles in the area. They all need to be serviced, so they wanted to maintain those types of skills. So they offer courses in the area, and I think at this particular location. But I think more importantly, they offer tours at this particular location so they can raise funds to help support the development of or maintaining of the artisanal crafts that they have in the area. So this is the book written by King Charles demonstrating the fauna in the area. Available for sale, but I believe it's quite a limited edition and quite expensive. So this is basically a new construction or newer construction, as you can see, and they show lots of pictures of all the fortified castles in the area. There's actually one in Viscri just above the town. We did not have the time to go to that one, and since we saw the one in Premature, there was really no reason to do that. But very interesting to see how many of these fortified churches and towns are available or are in Transylvania area.
Nobody will know you weren't there.
I think you took the car.
Not in close enough, it looks like I was over here.
So this is an example of some of the slate roofs and the process to make the slate and how to hang them. And there's a picture of Prince Charles basically doing exactly that.
Somehow you had a feeling
And this particular section of the museum shows the traditional gathering of herbs and how they hang them and dry them when they collect them for the season. And now this final section is the entrance into the chambers or the apartments of King Charles.
You know what that means?
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And as I said, I'm documenting each day of our trip, so just follow along if you want to know all about Viking cruises and their extensions.